Good morning, children. How are you all? I'm here with yet another chapter, new chapter for you all. And today we are going to learn very, what do you say, important topic of our computer subject, that is input output devices. Okay, let's get just started. Yes, chapter number 7, working with computers. Children, I've just shifted to chapter number 7 because the practical sessions of pivot animation I would be taking in a later side, so that we will finish our theoretical chapters. Okay, let's get started. Yes, so what is the objective of learning this particular chapter, that is working with computers? We are going to learn about hardwares and how our computer system works, like input process and output processes, files, folders, and WordPad. Children, what is a computer? It is a machine, right? So any machine, what do we call? We call it as hardware. So what is an hardware? All the physical parts of computer which can be seen, so whichever are the physical in the sense which are present, touchable, all the computer parts of the computer which you can touch with your hands and see. Okay, see from outside, which can be seen or touched, are called as hardwares. Some parts are visible outside the computer CPU box. Okay, the some parts of are visible outside the CPU box. Like what are they? Keyboard, monitor, mouse, speakers, etc. Right? These are the basic parts of computers which are present outside the CPU. Inside the CPU also there are machineries, there are chips, there is a hard disk, everything. But apart from that, are called as hardware. Some are inside the CPU box also. Like I said, there will be hard disk, there will be motherboard, there will be memory, memory storage device, etc. So motherboard and all, you might have seen, like inside our mobile phone, we put chips, right? We put lots of all. We put our SIM card. Do we use SIM card outside? No, right? But you can see and touch it also, right? And we put the SIM card inside our mobile phone. So that is also a hardware device. The same way, inside our CPU also there are lots of chips. There are lots of hard disk. There's a hard disk where we store information. There's memory devices, all those things. So all those parts which of a computer which you can see and touch are called as hardware devices. Yes, you can see some of the hardware devices over here. Monitor, can you see the monitor and touch it? Yes. Keyboard, yes. Mouse, yes. Speaker, yes. See, motherboard looks like this. It looks like a place from where everything is operated. It is physical thing present inside the computer CPU. We have placed it inside the CPU so we can touch it. So when you remove the cabinet, when you remove the cover of CPU, you can see all this particular parts of CPUs. Then DVD, CD drive, obviously, yes, wherever you put your CDs, right, to see any videos available or hear any audio available on the CD drive. Then this is a floppy disk. You might not have seen this floppy disk nowadays. So children, before CDs, DVDs, at least CDs and DVDs, you must be seeing, like, okay, let's take an example. Um, let's take an example of pen drive, right? We have pen drive. So pen drive stores all information, right? All videos and audios and everything, files. So before that, we were using CDs. So we almost, many of you might have definitely seen CDs. So before CDs, they were using floppy disk, which you were able to see on your screen. Yes, these kinds of floppy disk were being used. So after the CDs and all were developed, so floppy disk started being not so used. Yes, let's come to, see children, basically how do a computer works? See, computer works in such a way that we give instructions to computer, correct? We give instructions to computer. How do we give it? Do we talk to the computer, computer G, do like this. No, we key in the information, we type the information, and computer reads the information. Whatever information we type in, that information computer will read and it will act accordingly, correct? So whenever we are typing, so we are putting some information inside the computer, and then computer reads that information and works accordingly. So whatever reading happens, whatever the thinking process happens in the computer, we called it as processing. And whatever, after thinking, after calculating all the things, whatever information computer gives us on the monitor as a result, that are called as output, correct? Input and then processing and then output. So input devices allows us to send information to the computer. Input to the computer is usually given by clicking the mouse or typing on the keyboard, correct? So if I want to give an information to the computer, how do I give it? Either by clicking through the mouse or by typing on my keyboard. Next one, output devices. Output devices allows us to receive information from the computer. Output from the computer may be printouts from the printer, sounds on the speaker, or images on our monitor. See, if I want to play a song, what am I supposed to do? I have to pick something. Let me take a song. Do I have any song with me? Let me do it. Yes, I have a song over here. Yes, see children, I want the computer to play this song which is available for me. It's a Beagle song. I want the computer. What am I supposed to do? Shall I tell computer, start playing Beagle song? But it's not playing. I'm telling my computer to do it. No, it will not hear me. It will go according to my instructions, which I give using either my keyboard or my mouse. So I'll simply go and click. And when I double click it, my song will start. See. So whatever sound I'm going to hear is my output, right? It's output. And where it is coming on? It is coming on my system through my speaker, through the speaker. Correct? This is the way we get an output on our speaker. But children, now I want to know what is available in this file. So what I'll do, I'll double click it. So when I'm double clicking, I am able to see what are the things on. Where am I seeing this one? Where are you people seeing this video? It is on the screen, monitor screen, on your mobile screen. It works like just like monitor screen, right? So whatever output comes, we see on our monitor. And if at all I want to whatever I'm typing on my system, I want it to be on a paper, then I have to do print, and the printer will print out to me and it will give me on a paper, right? So what are these things? These are the output devices. What are the devices which gives the result to us? So what are they? Monitor, it shows the result on the screen. Speaker, if you want to hear anything, if you're watching video, if you're watching a game, you're playing a game, you want to have a sound. So who gives that sound outside? Yes, it is the speaker. Then the third thing, if you want any printout, if you have done a painting on in your system and you want it to put it on your wall. So who gives you? Yes, it is the printer who gives the printout to us. So now we saw input and output device. Input is the keyboard, so the word only says input. So the devices which helps us to put information inside the computer are called input devices. Now the devices which gives us out the result or information, whatever we wanted the computer to give us, is called the output devices. Now let us see what is then See, we saw CPU, sorry, we saw input and we saw output. Now, what about CPU? What does the CPU do? Keyboard and mouse are input devices. Monitor, speaker, printer are the output devices. And why is the CPU? Yes, we have learned like CPU is the brain of computer. Whatever we give the instructions, first it goes to CPU. CPU does the calculation. CPU does the processing. CPU does all the work which we have done, and it will give the result to the output so that we are able to get it. Can I see a movie on CPU? No. Can I type on CPU? No. Can you see a brain? Do your brain have eyes? No, your body is having eyes. And who helps the eyes and all? If you want to walk somewhere or do, it's just hand, right? The same way, children, the CPU is neither an input nor an output device. It is not an input device. It is not an output device. It is just a device which takes the information given by the input device. So whatever I am typing on my keyboard is being taken by CPU, and it does the work and sends the result to the output device. This is called as processing. This is called as processing, wherein CPU takes the information, processes it, and gives out an information. Yes, see, this is how it is. Keyboard and mouse, they put information to the CPU. CPU does whatever you have asked the computer to do it. It does it and it displays on the monitor. So monitor is an output device. Okay, this is an activity in your textbook. Please do it. Sonu wants to buy. This girl, her name is Sonu. Sonu wants to buy some input and output devices for her computer. She wants some input and output devices for her computer. Can you all help her by circling the input and output devices? Write I in front, I for input and O for output devices. So here are some devices. Sonu is on a shopping now. She wants to buy some input and output devices. So circle the devices. Firstly, circle the devices, which are the computer devices. You are supposed to circle it, and inside that circle, write the what the device is. So you are supposed to write which device is what. Is it an input device? If you find, so let's take an example. This is an speaker. This is a speaker. So what is it? Is it an input device, an output device? So if it is an input device, inside the computer, inside that circle, write I, or if it is an output device, circle it again and then write a O over there. So this is your activity for today, and the next session we will continue with our next. Okay, I have one more activity. Let's just finish this one also today only. Okay, children, have you observed weighing machine on railway station? Not just on railway station, bus stops also. Correct? So wherever you go whenever you travel by bus, and if you are going for a bus stand, or if you are traveling through train and you go for railway station, you might have seen such machines, right? You'll have some sparkling lights. They'll say, put a coin and see your weight. So what are you doing there? You're putting a coin through a hole, correct? You're putting this through a hole is your input device. You put a coin inside. Coin is nothing but your, information which you're putting. And what does it do? It processes your weight, correct? It processes your weight. With the coin received, it processes your weight. And then output, it gives you through this particular box, a paper will be received. On a paper, it will print your weight and it will give you as an output. Note that when you put a coin in, you get a ticket with your weight printed on it, correct? Weight printed on it. What is the input and output for this activity? I have already said it. Please mention it in your textbooks. The next topic, files and folders, we will be seeing in our next class. Until then, bye bye. Read the chapter repeatedly so that you will be able to understand it in a better way.